Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtapraishu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with our discussion on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7 entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, text number 6 onwards. So Krishna in the previous two verses he talked about the material energy and the jiva, and he says jivas are superior to the material energy and they're trying to exploit the material energy. And besides that, what is there? Text 6. Etadyonini bhutani sarvani iti updharaya aham krishnasya jagatah prabhava pralayasthatha. All created beings have their source in these two natures of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. So basically, everything comes from Krishna and everything rests in Krishna. Everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Spirit is the basic field of creation, and matter is created by spirit. Spirit is not created at a certain stage of material development. Rather, this material world is manifested only on the basis of spiritual energy. This material body is developed because spirit is present within matter. A child grows gradually to boyhood and then to manhood because that superior energy, spirit soul, is present. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because of the presence of the supersoul, Vishnu. Therefore, spirit and matter, which combine to manifest this gigantic universal form, are originally two energies of the Lord. And consequently, the Lord is the original cause of everything. A fragmental part and parcel of the Lord, namely the living entity, may be the cause of a big skyscraper, a big factory, or even a big city, but he cannot be the cause of a big universe. The cause of the big universe is the big soul or the super soul, and Krishna, the Supreme, is the cause of both the big and small souls. Therefore, he is the original cause of all causes. This is confirmed in Kat Upanishad, Nityo Nityanam Chetnas Chetnanam. So Krishna here is clarifying everything that we talked about matter, we talked about spirit soul. I am the source of everything. I am the source of both matter and spirit. So Krishna is clarifying. So that's why this chapter is knowledge of the absolute. So we are getting to know about Krishna more in this Bhagavad Gita, starting from this chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada writes nicely that without matter and spirit, nothing can exist. So everything that exists, everything that we can see, has both matter and spirit. And spirit, matter on its own cannot do anything. It has to have some spirit, some living entity behind it for it to function. And behind both the jivas and the material energy, it's Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything. Text 7. Mattaha paratram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam surne sutre manigana iva. Now Krishna talks about himself now. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Krishna is clearly telling about who's he, who's God. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So he clearly says, there is no truth superior to me. This is not, some people say this is his pride talking, or he's being very, like in America, there's a word called cocky. Cocky means proud, very proud and very talkative. He's egotistic. This is not egotist talking. This is the truth that he's telling us. Egotist talking is when he can compare himself with somebody, but there is nobody who he can compare with, because he clearly says, there is no truth superior to me. Means he's the topmost. He clearly says there. Just like Prabhupada, in one place, he said, in Christianity, Jesus Christ said he is Son of God. And Hazrat Muhammad in Islam, he said, I am servant of God. And here Krishna says, I am God. Simple as that. So, son is, and Prabhupada was basically telling, the son is going to say the same thing, servant is also going to say the same thing, what the main God is going to say. But obviously, God, because he is the greatest, so he will say something more than what the son or a servant can say. So this is very high knowledge that Krishna is giving us in Bhagavad Gita. There is a common controversy over whether the supreme absolute truth is personal or impersonal. As far as the Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the absolute truth is a personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. And this is confirmed in every step. In this verse in particular, it is stressed that the absolute truth is a person. Those who believe that impersonal or Brahm Jyoti is supreme, for them, this shloka is good enough. When Krishna, they say, those who believe in Nirakar form, they say ultimate is Nirakar, and in the Nirakar, some vikar, some perversion happened, some change happened, and Krishna appeared. But ultimate is Nirakar. But here Krishna is clearly saying, there is no truth superior to me. So if that truth, if Brahm Jyoti was the source of Krishna, Krishna could have said that. But he never said that in Bhagavad Gita. So there is no source of Krishna. Krishna is a source of everything, everybody, everything that we see in the universe, or we don't see in the universe, because there are many things. There are many truths we don't see, we cannot even conceive of. But here Krishna clearly says, he is the supreme truth. Mattaha paratram nanyat. There is nothing, there is no one superior to me. So that's why actually we did start we did start with Srimad Bhagavatam, but we should have covered Bhagavad Gita first. Then actually Bhagavad Gita, then Bhagavatam, then Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then other books. That's how the sequence should go on. Because then all the basis, all the basics, all the fundamentals would be cleared up. That the personality of Godhead is a supreme absolute truth is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha. That is the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure, Govinda, and the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge. These authorities leave no doubt that the absolute truth is a supreme person, the cause of all causes. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version given in the Shveta Upanishad. In the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods. Among the demigods, human beings and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence, who has no material form and is free from all material contaminations. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental, but those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. The impersonalists put more stress on the word arupam, but this arupam is not impersonal. It indicates a transcendental form of the eternal bliss and knowledge. So arupam means Krishna, or the supreme absolute truth, has no material rupa or material form. It is all spiritual. So further, Prabhupada says, there is no truth superior to that supreme person because he is the supermost. He is smaller than the smallest and he is greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree, and he illuminates the transcendental sky. And as a tree spreads its roots, he spreads his energies everywhere. But then, although Prabhupada in the verse he did not stress on this. But the second line of the verse is Mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana eva. So I am holding everything. I am supporting everything, just like pearls are strung on a thread. So when we see a beautiful mala, beautiful pearl necklace, so we all get enamored by the beauty of the pearls. But can the pearls stay there without the thread, without the string? No. So the real beauty of the garland or of the necklace is lies in the string, not in the pearls alone. So Krishna is there maintaining everybody. He's holding up the whole universe, maintaining everything, taking care of everything. But just like the strings in a necklace is not visible, so Krishna is not visible. So being invisible or remaining in the background, he's making sure everything goes on okay. He's making sure everyone is taken care of. But those who have the eyes, later on it will says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only by bhakti I am to be known. But those who have eyes anointed with the love of Krishna, those who have the eyes, those who have the knowledge given to them by mercy of Krishna because of their devotion, they can see, they can understand, they can perceive, they can conceive of Krishna everywhere. They can see the hands of Krishna everywhere. So for that, we have to have the proper eyes. Theoretically, we might read it in Bhagavad Gita, in Prabhupada's purports, or many other places. But to really have the eyes to see him, that's a little challenge. So for that, we have to grow, or we have to make advancement in bhakti. Then we can see him. Not just see him, we'll see him 24 hours a day. Everywhere, in everything, we'll see him. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Vasudeva sarvamiti means Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is my shelter. Krishna is my protector. So Mahatma Sudurlabha. That kind of Mahatma, that kind of great personality is very rare to find. So that's what we have to become. And when we see Krishna everywhere, Krishna's hands everywhere, um, Krishna's interference, Krishna's energies everywhere, Krishna's mercy everywhere, then there's nothing else to be seen. Then we'll become eligible to go back to God, to go back to the spiritual world. Then we won't see ourselves, oh, I am the cause of this, whatever I have done, or I'm going to achieve this, I'm doing that, I'm the creator of this. Then we won't see that. We'll see Krishna everywhere. We'll see Krishna's influence, Krishna's mercy everywhere. And actually that is the truth. It just like in third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Prakrite kriyamanani guneh karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartahamiti manyate. So every living entity is working helplessly under the guidance of the nature. But ahankar vimudatma, those who are ignorant and those who are very proud of themselves, they think they are the doers. We are not the doers. We just have little independence and Krishna sanctions it. Krishna, not even Krishna, Krishna's expansion is Paramatma. He sanctions it and then the material modes take over and they make us do things. And we think I'm the doer. We think I'm the achiever. I am a self-made man. I've achieved this thing. I'm successful. I'm this, I'm that. All we have to understand, I'm a part and parcel of Krishna. I'm a servant of Krishna. That's all. I'm a spirit soul. And I'm a divine spirit soul because all spirit souls are divine. There's nothing material in the spirit soul. And I am part and parcel of Krishna. And my only job is to serve Krishna. And Krishna means Krishna's devotees, Krishna's creation, Krishna's nature, Krishna's energies, they're all part of Krishna. So we have to come to this level of understanding, this consciousness, this realization. And my job is to serve everybody. And obviously Krishna. Those are related to Krishna, we have to serve. And everything and everybody is actually related to Krishna. Because here Krishna clearly says, no, in the previous verse, everything comes from me. So very, very important to understand. Of course, further on, Krishna talks more about his energies, um, about his strengths, about his nature. But today being very important day, disappearance day of Srila Haridas Thakur. So as promised yesterday, we'll discuss that. So Haridas Thakur, he is some scriptures say he is incarnation of Brahmaji. Some scriptures says his incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. So he could be combined incarnation of both. So he was born in a Muslim family actually. But later on, by the mercy of devotees, somehow he came in contact with the Vaishnavas, and he became a Vaishnava, and he used to chant 3 lakh names every day, means 192 rounds every day. We are given a task of chanting 16 rounds every day. Even that is so difficult for us to do. And Haridas Thakur used to chant 192 rounds every single day. Before he could even take his meals, he would get up and chant. So I don't know his place of appearance. I guess it's in Bangladesh right now, whatever the Bangladesh is. So from there, somehow he came to Navdvip. And he was very well known for his chanting. Even though he was Muslim, but he was very well known for his chanting. So the real Vaishnavas, they were very fond of him. They were very respectful of him. But the Brahmins, so-called Brahmins, they were very much against him. Because for them, it was like insult that a Muslim is chanting the names of Ram and Krishna. And for Muslims, for Qazi and Nawabs, again it was a problem because they feel threatened that a Muslim is chanting Krishna names of Hindu gods. So the so-called followers of other religions, they were very much disturbed. But Vaishnavas, they were very happy to receive him because they see him chanting whole day. So for them, he was a senior most advanced person, most advanced Vaishnava. So at that time there was Muslim rule in India. So people, especially the Muslims and Brahmins complained to the Muslim magistrate Qazi, and Qazi thought, okay, I'll get this Haridas Thakur in trouble, and then we'll arrest him. So Haridas Thakur used to chant in a cave. So Qazi, what he did, he sent a prostitute to entice Haridas Thakur, and in that manner, in that mood, if she makes a relationship with him, and so idea was the soldiers were nearby and they would go and capture arrest Haridas Thakur for being a hypocrite. So prostitute went to Haridas Thakur in his cave. And she said, "Oh Haridas, you are very young, very beautiful, very solid body you have, and I want to have a relationship with you tonight." Haridas Thakur, being Haridas Thakur, he understood her real intentions. But since she had come for his help, he told her that, okay, we'll have a relationship, but I haven't finished my quota of chanting. So once my quota is finished, then I can do other things. So why don't you sit down and let me finish my quota? So whole night, prostitute sat there listening to Haridas Thakur's chanting. And when it was morning, Haridas Thakur uh, was the prostitute left. Where Haridas Thakur said, "Because I haven't yet finished my quota, so why don't you come back again tonight and I'll see. I'll try to finish up my quota before that." So again, prostitute came second day. And Haridas Thakur said, "See, even today I could not finish my quota and I cannot do anything without finishing my quota of chanting. Why don't you sit down? Let me try to finish up my quota of chanting." So again, prostitute sat down. So 3 days, 3 nights actually, she sat down and whole night listening to the pure chanting of Haridas Thakur. So the third night was over and then morning came. And prostitute, because she listened to this chanting of Harinam from Haridas Thakur, she got so much purified. She fell down at the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur and asked him for forgiveness. And she said, "This was actually my mission. Kaji has sent me and he was going to implicate you. But now, after listening to your chanting, I'm completely changed and I want to give up all my bad habits." Haridas Thakur said, "I knew from very night, and I could have left this cave that night only because I didn't want to do anything with Kazi and his decisions. But since you had come, it was my duty to purify you." So, so the prostitute fell at his feet, and she said, "Okay, what is my next order? What is order from me? I'm your disciple now. You're my guru." So Haridas Thakur said, "Whatever money you have collected by wrong means of profession, you give it all up. You just come here, sit in this cave, wearing only one set of clothes, and chant and have this Tulsi and a chant in front of Tulsi. And Krishna's mercy, he will take care of everything. All your necessities will be taken care of." And Haridas Thakur left that cave. So this prostitute, she went back to her house. She donated everything, and she shaved up her head, and then she put on white clothes, and she sat down in that cave, and she started to chant. And all the villagers, when they saw this prostitute has changed, she has been internally changed by mercy of Haridas Thakur, they would bring her all different sorts of things for her to eat, and everything was taken care of nicely. So Haridas Thakur, from there, he went to different places. He came to Shantipur, where Advaitacharya, although he is Mahavishnu himself, incarnation of Mahavishnu. Advaitacharya, understanding the power and position of Haridas Thakur, it was actually the time was of his father's Shraddh ceremony. And after the ceremony, they had to give the first food, first offering to somebody who's very much qualified. So Advaita Acharya, him being the leader of all the Brahmins and Vaishnavas in that area, he invited Haridas Thakur and he gave him the first offering of food after the puja was done. Haridas Thakur protested, "How can you give it to me? I'm a Malech. I'm born in a low class family and I'm nobody." Advaita Acharya said, "By feeding you, I'm going to feed 1 million Brahmins." So this is how Haridas Thakur was respected. And Haridas Thakur would go to different villages. He used to regularly visit father and uncle of Raghunath Das Goswami, Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. So once he was there, and there was a big program arranged for Haridas Thakur to speak upon, and Haridas Thakur was extolling the glories of the holy names, and while praising the holy names, while glorifying the holy name, he made a statement. He said, in the scriptures it is mentioned that there are three stages of chanting of the holy names: Nam Aparad, Nam Abhas, and Shuddha Nam stage. And those who have even achieved the stage of Nam Abhas only, even by chanting at the stage of Nam Abhas, one can achieve liberation. So there was a person there, Gopal Chakravarti. He protested. He said, "What is this nonsense you're talking about? For getting liberation, the yogis have to really sit down, do tapasya for so many years, and you're saying only by chanting at the stage of Nam Abhas one can achieve liberation." Haridas Thakur said, "Yes, actually, I'm not saying that. This is said in the scriptures." So Gopal Chakravarti challenging him, he said, "If it is not true, then may your nose fall off. May you develop leprosy and your nose fall off." Actually, that Gopal Chakravarti was very handsome looking person, and he was very proud of his nose. So he could not imagine a person without a nose. So he gave this curse to Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur said, "If what is written in scriptures, if it is not true, I myself will cut off my nose and throw it away." So Gopal Chakravarti went back to his village, to his house, and somehow within 3 days he developed cholera and leprosy. Not cholera, leprosy. And especially the leprosy was hit him on his nose, and in 3 days his nose just melted because of leprosy and fell off. So this is the result of committing offense against a Vaishnava, especially a Vaishnava who is Uttam Adhikari like Haridas Thakur. So one has to suffer the results, the reactions of a Vaishnava offense. So later on, Haridas Thakur came to Fulyagram, where he was chanting and dancing, and he was caught by the Qazi. Qazi said, "What are you doing? You're born in such a great and respectable lineage of Islam, and why you're chanting these lowly names of Hindu gods? Stop it." Actually, Qazi was, as I said earlier, he was tipped by Brahmins and the Muslims at the same time. So Haridas Thakur said, "Even if you cut my body to hundreds of pieces, and even if you get one of those pieces and cut that pieces into hundreds of pieces, still from every piece there's only Hare Krishna Mahamantra that will come out." So Qazi said, "So you're not going to stop chanting these names of Hindu gods?" Haridas Thakur said, "No, I will not stop." So Qazi said, "There is only one punishment for you, that you will be beaten up in 22 marketplaces all around Fulia and other villages." So Haridas Thakur was captured and by the soldiers of Qazi, and they started beating him up. The soldiers are soldiers; they are really very powerful people, and soldiers were beating him up with all their might, with the sticks, with the legs, with the hands, and not just beating him up. They were beating him up and they were abusing him. They were calling him different names, dirty names. But Haridas Thakur, he did not protest at all. They were from the marketplaces, many shopkeepers, they came and they told the soldiers, "Okay, we will give you some money, just take some bribe and just don't beat him up so mercilessly. Okay, you have to fulfill the order, just beat him up lightly." Some people said, "Okay, don't beat him up. You take us, you beat us up, leave him alone. He is such a thin, he's a sadhu, he's a saint, he will die." But the soldier said, no, the order is to beat him up in 22 marketplaces so that everybody gets a message clear and loud that no person, no Muslim is supposed to chant the names of Hindu gods, and no Hindu is supposed to chant the names of Muslim god. So they kept on beating him. And they went through all the 22 marketplaces. And after beating him up in 22 marketplaces, actually they fell down at the feet, lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. They said, nobody, so far we have beaten up, nobody has survived more than 3 or 4 marketplaces. You're the only person, you're the first person who we are beating up, and you have survived, not just survived. Survived would be, he could be unconscious because of beating and could not even see or say anything. But they said, you are still standing properly on your feet. And you have this look on your face. When we are trying to beat you up, you're looking at us with lots of compassion. But the soldier said, if you don't die, then Kazi will kill us. So what is it that we had to do? Haridas Thakur said, oh, my living is a problem, so don't worry, I'll show you what I can do. So Haridas Thakur went into Samadhi, and his body practically became lifeless. He had stopped all the breathing. So the soldiers went back to Kazi, they reported to him, and then the Kazis, they reported to him that Haridas Thakur has died. So Kazi then asked as a Brahman, so what to do with this Haridas? Can we cremate him? And Brahman said, no, we cannot cremate. He is Muslim. You cannot cremate him. We will not allow you to cremate him. So Kazi then went to Muslims. Haridas Thakur, he was born Muslim, so can we bury him? Muslims said, no, you cannot bury him because he was chanting the holy names of Hindu gods. So now he is not eligible for burial. Because if you bury him, he will go to heaven, and we don't want him to go to heaven. According to them, that was their thought process. So Kazi then decided that this dead body of Haridas Thakur should be thrown in the Ganges. So both Brahmins and Muslims, they were happy. So soldiers picked up Haridas Thakur's body and they threw him in Ganges. And the body floated in Ganges. So after a while, Haridas Thakur came out of Samadhi. The body was still floating, so somehow he swam across Ganges. So a person like us, if we are given so much of punishment and somehow we escaped, somehow we are still alive, if we had flown across Ganges, swam across Ganges, we would have just left that place and one could have gone to some other village. But no, not Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur came back to the same village where Kazi was there who had given this order of beating him up. So Haridas Thakur, when he came back, Kazi heard that and he came running and he fell down at the feet of Haridas Thakur and saying, you are a big Sufi, you are a big saint, I made lots of mistakes, please forgive me. So Haridas Thakur said, I came here just to meet you, just to forgive you. And then Haridas Thakur left that place. After a few years, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and he started his Sankirtan movement, and after Sankirtan movement, of course, many incidents happened, many pastimes with Haridas Thakur. And afterwards, Mahaprabhu took sannyas and he took a few of his devotees to Jagannath Puri from Navdeep. So Haridas Thakur also went to Jagannath Puri because he could not bear separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he didn't want to live without Mahaprabhu's association. So he went to Jagannath Puri along with Mahaprabhu and other devotees. So Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, first he was at Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, then he went to South India. For 6 years he was in South India. And then he came back. And then he was living at a place called Gambhira. But Haridas Thakur, he was living at at a small hut, not too far from main Jagannath temple, but he would never go inside the temple to take darshan of Lord Jagannath. Why? Because the 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 rule at Jagannath Puri is only Hindus are allowed to enter the temple. And Haridas Thakur, although he was Namcharya, given that title by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the Supreme Lord himself, but he would consider himself as still, I was born in a Muslim family, I'm not qualified to enter the temple. So he would just look at the Nil Chakra on top of Jagannath temple dome, and he would pay respect to it. So it is said that anyone who pays respect to Nil Chakra or looks at Nil Chakra, in return he has taken darshan of Jagannath ji. So this is what Haridas Thakur adopted. But seeing his humility, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased with him that every day in the morning when Mahaprabhu would go and take darshan of Lord Jagannath in the temple, he would bring Lord Jagannath's special Mahaprasadam for Haridas Thakur every day. See the good fortune of Haridas Thakur. So one day Mahaprabhu came and he saw Haridas Thakur, because he used to chant 192 rounds every day, and it used to get really hot in Jagannath Puri and it was very sunny. So Mahaprabhu brought this datun, this twig from Lord Jagannath. So every night when Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, they go to sleep, the pujaris keep this little woods as twigs for them to clean their teeth with, for the Lord to clean the teeth with. So in the morning they take these sticks and give it to people for in exchange of little money, and so that people can worship those sticks. They've been personally used by Lord Jagannath. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought one of the sticks, and the stick was actually from a bakul tree. So he brought that datun, that stick, from Jagannath temple. And where Haridas Thakur used to sit and chant, Mahaprabhu just planted that stick in the ground. And he started chanting Mahaprabhu. And the stick, immediately, it grew. And all of a sudden, it grew up in a big shading tree. So Mahaprabhu then told Haridas Thakur that you should actually sit down under the shade of this tree and then chant. And the tree, or the descendant of the tree, is still there. There's a place called Siddh Bakul. So the tree was Bakul tree, but it had become Siddh. It had become perfect by listening to the chanting of Haridas Thakur. So that Siddh Bakul tree is still there, and there's a beautiful ashram around that tree, and there's beautiful deities there. Anybody who's going to Jagannath Puri should definitely visit that place. So Haridas Thakur used to sit under that tree and chant his 300,000 names every day, 192 rounds. So one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's servant, Govind, came from Jagannath temple to see Haridas Thakur in the morning, and he had brought some prasadam from Lord Jagannath. Haridas Thakur was lying down and he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Govinda asked him, why you're lying down? Why don't you get up and chant? Actually, Haridas Thakur wasn't feeling well. He was sick that day. But Haridas Thakur said, oh, actually, I'm not feeling well because I haven't chanted my full quota of rounds. So Govind went back and he gave the information to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So next day Mahaprabhu came with prasadam, and he came and he met Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was still lying down, somehow chanting the holy names. And Mahaprabhu, there was a beautiful discussion between Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur at that time. Mahaprabhu said, Haridas, are you okay? Haridas Thakur says, oh, my body is okay, but my mind is not okay. Mahaprabhu said, why? What happened? Haridas Thakur, with all the humility, he says, my mind is not okay Because I haven't finished my quota of chanting. Mahaprabhu said, you came on earth with a special purpose of distributing the holy names, and you have done that very well. So now you can reduce your quota of chanting. You're old, and so you can reduce. It's okay. You're already perfect. Haridas Thakur, again in all humility, he replied, Mahaprabhu, I was born a Malecha. I'm a Malecha. I'm useless. I'm very fallen. Please don't take away this chanting of Hare Krishna from me. I cannot give up chanting. Just imagine if Krishna himself, God himself comes to us and tells us, you don't need to chant 16 rounds. Okay, you chant 4 rounds only, you're okay. I'll take care of everything. We would be so happy. We would be jumping up and down and we would be putting the message across on WhatsApp and Facebook. And see, Krishna came and told me this, because we want to glorify ourselves. But Haridas Thakur, in his reply, he is saying, Mahaprabhu, please don't tell me that. I cannot live without chanting. This is my only asset because I am so fallen. This is the only thing that is going to purify me. So even Mahaprabhu could not say anything. And Mahaprabhu asked him, Haridas. And then, Haridas himself said, but Mahaprabhu, I have only one request to make. If you can kindly allow me and kindly fulfill my desire. Mahaprabhu said, what? Haridas Thakur said, I know very soon you're going to wind up your pastimes and you're going to unmanifest yourself. So my only request, my prayer at your lotus feet is, I don't want to see those days without you. I don't think I can tolerate this. So I want to leave my body before you do. Looking at your lotus face, I want to leave my body. Mahaprabhu said, how is it possible, Haridas? Why are you only thinking about you? Why don't you think about me? How will I live without your association? I come here to purify myself. Haridas Thakur said, please don't engage me in this word jugglery. You're very good at that. And I'm like an insignificant creature. I'm like an insignificant ant. Even if one ant dies, you have so many exalted Vaishnavas you can take company of. And if in single land dies, what's the loss? Actually, Mahaprabhu was glorifying Haridas Thakur and he wanted to glorify to the whole world. So Mahaprabhu went back. After a few days, he again came. And he came that day with all the senior devotees like Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Shankar Pandit, and Ramanand Rai, and other devotees. And Mahaprabhu came to that place, and Haridas Thakur was again lying down, and he was trying to chant, very slowly he was chanting. Mahaprabhu came there, and he started glorifying Haridas Thakur, as if Mahaprabhu had 5 mouths, and he was glorifying Haridas Thakur like anything. About his qualities, his chanting, his humility, his patience, his tolerance. So while glorifying Swarup Damodar, Mahaprabhu asked Swarup Damodar to start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Swarup Damodar started chanting, everybody was chanting and dancing along with it. Haridas Thakur was lying down. And when everybody had come in, Haridas Thakur paid obeisances to each and every devotee, and he took the dust of the lotus feet and put it on his head. So why the dust of the lotus feet? The dust of the lotus feet, because the feet of any person are the lowest point, and the dust of the lotus feet, which is underneath the sole of the feet, that is even lower than the person. So the person who is humble enough, he takes the dust and puts it on his head, signifying that I am even lower than the dust of your lotus feet. And Haridas Thakur did it not just as a matter of ritual or formality or just to make a show of his humility. He was really feeling that way. Actually, when earlier also we discussed that our life should not be just made of rituals. It should be spiritual. Like we should really mean it when we do something. Krishna is bhavagrahi. Krishna is sargrahi. He of course he sees the action, but he sees the intent behind the action. And he really sees it. He is sitting as Paramatma in our hearts. Nothing can be hidden from him. So whenever we do some service, whenever we go to temple, when we are chanting, when we are reading, we have to understand, or we have to have the right mood, what I'm doing it for, why I'm doing this, whatever I'm doing. It should not be for my own glories, for my own pleasure, for my own power. It should be for the pleasure of Krishna, Guru and Krishna. So Haridas Thakur, out of his humility, he took the dust of lotus feet of everybody, and then he lied down. Mahaprabhu sat down near Haridas Thakur. Then Haridas Thakur looked at the lotus face of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and looking at his lotus face, Haridas Thakur left his body. And today is the day when he left his body. Mahaprabhu looked at the lifeless body of Haridas Thakur. It was a dead corpse. And Mahaprabhu, because he loved his devotees so much, and because he respected Haridas Thakur so much, he picked up the body of Haridas Thakur and started chanting and dancing all over the courtyard, all over the area where Haridas Thakur used to live. And everybody was ecstatically chanting along with Mahaprabhu. So chanting, they came to the seashore. Mahaprabhu took the body of Haridas. Actually, then all the devotees got together. They made a nice palanquin for Haridas Thakur's body to be taken around. And they all carried the body of Haridas Thakur to seashore. While doing kirtan all over Puri, they took him to seashore. And Mahaprabhu personally, he bathed the body of Haridas Thakur with the water of the sea. And then he said that this sea, because Haridas Thakur's body is bathed in it, this sea has become a place of pilgrimage. So point was, anybody who goes to Jagannath Puri, he has to take bath in that sea to purify himself. So after bathing Haridas Thakur's body over there, then Mahaprabhu brought him to little distance away. Then he started digging a hole in the ground, in the sandy ground. And everybody started helping Mahaprabhu. And then they lowered the body of Haridas Thakur in that pit, in that hole in the ground. And they covered him up with the sand on the beach. And then they put some kind of sign there. And this is the Samadhi of Haridas Thakur. And that temple, that place is still there. Those who go to Jagannath Puri, they can visit that place, the Samadhi of Haridas Thakur. And after burying Haridas Thakur, now why did Mahaprabhu bury him? Was it because he was Muslim? No, it is not called that Kabristan. It is called Samadhi. So any exalted Vaishnava, when they leave the body, they don't leave the body like we guys do. They leave the body, but they're still in Samadhi. The body is already spiritual, and the body is in Samadhi. Samadhi means they're constantly in meditation of the Supreme Lord. Well, while we are living in this body, we are not in meditation. So how can we be in meditation when we are dead? But those exalted Vaishnavas, exalted devotees, they're always in meditation of the Supreme Lord. So Mahaprabhu performed this Samadhi Leela for Haridas Thakur. And then Mahaprabhu was again, he was very much in ecstasy, and he was again started to chant and dance, and all the devotees followed him. Chanting, dancing, they all came to this Anand Bazaar of Jagannath temple, where Mahaprabhu started begging each and every shopkeeper And he was saying, "Oh, my dear Haridas Thakur has left his body, and I need to hold a feast in this honor, in the honor of his disappearance day. So please give me some prasad." And all the shopkeepers, they seeing Mahaprabhu and seeing the glories of Haridas Thakur, they brought bucket loads of prasad for Mahaprabhu to distribute. At that time, Swarup Damodar and other devotees, Kashi Ishwar, they all came forward. They said, "Mahaprabhu, we'll take care of this collection and distribution of prasad. Why don't you sit down and you start eating? You sit down with Brahmanand Bharti and Parmanand Puri because they are your god brothers, and they are the god brothers of your spiritual master. And then once you start eating, then everybody will eat, because otherwise nobody will eat." So everybody sat down. Swarup Damodar Goswami and other devotees, they started collecting from all the shopkeepers. They said, "Don't give us full bucket, just give us 4 hands full, because there's so many shopkeepers, they're ready to give us this donation." So they collected so much amount of prasadam, and then they started distributing to everybody. Everybody sat down, and Mahaprabhu was he was sitting down, but he was guiding all the servers. "Okay, this person, you give him this prasad because he likes that kind of sweet, or he likes that kind of khaja, or whatever item he likes. And next person, you give him this prasad more and more." So practically everybody there, they got prasad that 10 people could eat. And Mahaprabhu was there guiding, and Mahaprabhu then started to eat, and then everybody started eating, and then they enjoyed. And afterwards, Mahaprabhu put flower garlands on each and every devotee who was there, and then put sandalwood paste on them. And this is how they finished the pastime of disappearance of Haridas Thakur. It is said that anybody who hears this pastime of passing away of Haridas Thakur will get unlimited bhakti at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So today is a day that shows not just how devotees love Krishna or how devotees love Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It shows how much Mahaprabhu loves his devotees. How much love, and how he worships his devotees. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Ye yatham mam prapadyate tans tatham bhajami." As one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. But here, Mahaprabhu didn't just reward him. He loved Haridas Thakur. He respected Haridas Thakur. And he showed to all of us how to respect us an advanced and exalted person like Haridas Thakur. Although Haridas Thakur appeared in a Muslim family, but since he used to chant the holy name so much, he had become complete, very exalted, very great, very advanced Vaishnava. So how Mahaprabhu, how Krishna loves the devotees, it's amazing to see. So today is a day when we can pray to Haridas Thakur. He is a Namcharya in our line, Acharya of chanting of the holy name. We can pray to him to please bestow upon us some mercy, so we can also get a little taste, some taste for chanting of the holy names. And so we can also develop these qualities of humility that Haridas Thakur had, the patience, the tolerance that he had, the perseverance, because he tolerated the beatings of all those soldiers in 22 marketplaces. So this is what we have to pray to him for. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. It's exactly 1 hour.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Hemant.
Hare Bol. Kaise hain Prabhuji? Long time no see.
Yes, Prabhu. Morning chanting time.
Okay.
Prabhuji, when we go to the places and like if we take bath in Ganges or and we say our all sins are washed away, but we remain the same. We don't change.
Hmm.
So it's so difficult to change ourselves. So it's like,
Well, why bathing? I mean, even chanting. It is said if just one name of Krishna, if we chant it from the core of our heart, the one name of Krishna is so powerful, it can remove the sins, the reactions of sins of all those we have committed in all those lifetimes. And not even just committed, even we can't even think of committing, even all those sins, they can be wiped out. But we don't have that kind of faith. That's the problem. It's not like going in Ganges and taking bath, it'll not take away our sins. It will definitely does. But we don't have faith. We don't go with that mentality. We go with mentality of playing and enjoying. So obviously that will also have some good effect on us, but it'll take very long time for us to have desired result. So faith has to be developed.
thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Praj. Any other question or comment? So I guess we can stop here. You all have a wonderful day, and please go visit the temple. And there must be at ISKCON Delhi, at least they will have the deity of Haridas Thakur on display today. Please go pray to him for attraction for the holy name. That will really take care of everything. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna,
much,
Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Prabhuji.